generate a profit of just 3,559 per month. And an ROA of 60%. Anybody can do it and achieve great things. Gives a total monthly profit after all costs, management costs and everything of around £6,000 a month. And an average ROI of 31%.
And we're going to go straight to our final fifth case study. Please put your hands together for John Santiago.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So, a bit about myself. I work in the development and construction industry. I've been doing it for about 18 years, working in the Middle East. I did about half of that in the UK and then the other half in the Middle East. So by background, I became a chartered with the RACS back in 2004. I have my first class degree in building surveying and construction management, and also a master's degree with distinction. So I've been doing that for quite some time. I have a family with 2 lovely kids and a very supporting wife. So the main reason for doing Mastermind, I guess, is a bit of a reality check. In the last few years, we had our 2 kids. God bless my wife for doing that. And unfortunately, I lost my father as well. So at that point, it sounds very cliche, but time is and life is too short. So I thought to myself, well, to actually enjoy the rest of my life, I need to be able to free up some time in order to raise my kids, spend time with the family, be a good father, and do all of those things. So in my day job, I work very long hours. I'm a director of development for the past 6 years. So it's quite intensive, and I generally work also evenings and weekends. So my wife says I'm a workaholic, and you always find something to do. And I'm like, I'm not finding something to do. I just have so much to do, and I don't have the time for other things. But no, really, she's been very supportive, and the reality is, I guess I'm just a very driven person, and if there's a job that needs doing, I'll do it, whatever it takes. And that usually ends up me spending a lot of time working for my employers and working very long hours and doing it. So I thought to myself, well, to actually to achieve the goal of having more time to spend with family and friends, the only way to do that is to try and reduce the amount of time I exchange for a salary, and to generate passive income. So that's really one of the reasons why I joined Mastermind, was to try and develop a property portfolio. And the second reason was, I guess, is to do with giving something back and giving education to all the children in this world. Where I was born in quite a poor country, and I was fortunate to have had an education in England, and that gave me huge opportunities, and I'm very grateful for it, to my mother for what she did. And my cousins and relatives, they still live in some of them in poverty, and I just want to be able to in the future build schools in poorer countries and give education to every single child on this planet. And I want to use my skills in terms of being a developer to be able to do that. And I thought, well, I can't do that if I'm always working 12 hours a day and don't have any time even for family and friends. So the only way to do that is to build a passive income and try and generate that time. So yeah, those are the 2 fundamental reasons for Mastermind. But the bonus is I actually love what I do, and also the property side of it is something that I feel like it's something that gives me an element of creativity. So I really, really enjoy it, and I love what I do. So to go through some of the main strategies that I've done over the last 12 months. Momentum investing, so purchased some properties to buy, refurbish and refinance, which then leads to some equity release, so to use that, recycle the cash and then use it for the next project. And not really a strategy, but more of a tool, but to make sure that you have a good local power team. I live about 4,000 miles away from my investments, working away overseas. So having the power team and the systems in place is the only way to do it. Purchase lease options is another one which I'm trying to implement at the moment with some of the other deals. And I guess having the knowledge and network is a huge thing, especially for me being so far away. Without that, there's no way I've been able to done what I've done in the last 12 months. The asset classes I've been trying to go ahead with are service accommodations and holiday lets, and also buy-to-lets. So I'll move on to the first case study. This one is called Ocean Pearl. It's in the northeast coast of England, and just a little bit about the property in terms of how I found it. So I made it my point after going through the training on Mastermind, which is to develop very good relationships with agents. And trying to do that from abroad is quite difficult, but I still spent a lot of time on phone calls and Zoom calls. So in this particular area, I made it my point to pick the top 3 agents, develop relationships with them, have a lot of phone calls with them, show them I'm a serious buyer. One of the training is to just call them up and tell them I'm looking to acquire a couple of properties. I have funding in place, and I'm ready to go. So over I guess a good month, I spent that time just doing it remotely, and then eventually got to meet the agents, booked it. So I had a holiday in the UK, so it wasn't really a holiday because I ended up doing property investment. But during that time, when I was there, I only had like 1 day in this particular location. So I remember pretty much trying to blitz it with. We did something crazy like 10 viewings in that day. And at the end of it, I felt a bit deflated because I didn't find anything. And then the agent said, actually, look, I've got this other one. It's a 5-bed property, grade 2 listed. Would you consider it? And I said, well, I wasn't really looking for that sort of size because it was quite a bit more expensive. I was looking more at 1 and 2 bed holiday lets. So he said, okay, well, have a look at it anyway. I said, okay, have a look at it. I've got nothing to lose. So we looked at this one. It was a beautiful building. It's quite popular in the location. As it happened, everybody knows about the property because it was previously a pub, previously a family house, previously split into 2 flats. And then now it was a 5-bed family house that was being sold. So it had great opportunity and panoramic sea views. And I just thought, wow, that's really worth doing. And then I thought, well, is it worth spending that extra money and doing it? What's in it for me? So what I realized actually was after a bit more market research was there's actually a lot of properties and a lot of people in the market doing 1 and 2 bedroom holiday lets. And we know, even if you just go on booking.com, you'll see hundreds of them. But there's not that many doing larger properties, 6 or 7 bed ones. And after speaking to a lot of the agents and local people who run these type of properties, they said, well, yeah, there's a massive demand for that. So the best thing for this one was actually, you know what, I'm not going to compete where everybody else is competing in the 1 and 2 beds. I'm going to go where nobody else is looking, and there's only about 5 or 6, actually properties like that in the area. So that worked brilliantly, I guess, to try and do something different and not go where everybody else is going, but go where the demand is in the area. So this one was converted to a 6-bed holiday let. Asking price was around 400, but we negotiated on 365. This was during COVID. We did a refurbishment, full refurbishment, top down, including furnishing for a top class holiday let. That was 155,000, and that also had fees and taxes around 20,000 with a GDV. We've just had it informally valued by a local agent. He said it could be up to about 650. So I've just put in 625 to be a bit conservative. And then after all the costs, cleaning, laundry, maintenance and everything, that should generate a profit of just 3,559 per month. And an ROA of 60%, and that would include taking equity out and then using the money to recycle on the next property. The next case study is called Parkfield Road. So this was my first property. I used to live in it actually in Manchester, and I just rented it out while I've been away. Never made any money, but I just had the mortgage being paid off, and I thought to myself, since joining Mastermind, there's actually a lot that can be done here to repurpose it and do something with it. So I thought to myself, well, why don't I do another holiday let? like the other one, and see what we do. So after doing a lot of the calculations, it was actually a bit touch and go whether it's going to be doing that well in that area. It's a very good area, but it was also very strong as a normal buy-to-let. So did the financial analysis, what sort of return would it get, managing it against risk and, time consumed for doing the job. And when I got the prices back, they were just astronomical. I was like, I can't believe it. You want to charge that much for refurbing a small one-bed flat. But, that was the global position we were in with material prices, timber, doubling in cost. And, builders being so busy with a huge pipeline of projects. So, prices were just ridiculous. So it didn't stack up to do the refurb, well, the full refurb anyway. And as it happened, I decided it's actually much better just to do a very light refurbishment, do it as a normal buy-to-let, remarket it, and actually achieved quite a lot, not from having to spend so much in it, spent a little, but focused on what really added value in terms of just, floor finishes, redecoration, and, sprucing up a little bit of the apartment. And I also transferred this to my limited company after, being on Mastermind and then learning about better ways to do things financially, and then increased the rent by 20%, and then gave me an £80,000 equity release, as well as a great profit of £400 a month on what I would say is a very easy and straightforward project. The third one is a bit of a similar one to the first case study, another holiday let opportunity, 3-bed house, actually has a big basement and a lot of space behind it, so it's much bigger than it looks. So purchase price is 335, refurbishment around 100, and then I'll convert it to a 5-bed. GDV about 500,000, and then should do monthly profit after all the costs, cleaning, maintenance, everything, about £1,400, and an ROI of about 17%. And the final one, so as you know, I live abroad. This is a house that I bought as our family home, and it's a 5-bed, big Victorian property. This is just a coach house. The main house is on the left. The reason why this is on here, because the family house is not really a buy-to-let or a holiday let, but the reason why this is on here is we're going to rent out the coach house, and that should generate an income as well of at least 600. It'll probably do more like 1,000, but I'm just being conservative with this one, and that will probably go towards paying most of my costs in terms of mortgage of the house and the property. So I'll be living in the property, but my expenses will be covered from renting out the coach house. So to summarize the deals, these are the ones that I've gone through. There's the Ocean Pearl one, which is the main one, which I've spent most of my time this year. Gives a total monthly profit after all costs, management costs and everything, of around £6,000 a month, and an average ROI of 31%. So I feel like there's been a good achievement the last 12 months. It's been extremely difficult. I finish work quite late. I come back home. I have to spend time with the kids, feed them, shower them, read the story to them. And I also believe in a healthy body, healthy mind. So I also do exercise, 2 or 3 times a week. So by the time I've done that and then get back to my laptop and join the PIN meeting and the mastermind training, it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And then, I'm struggling to keep my eyes open. So by around about midnight, I'm kind of falling asleep by my laptop, just trying to keep up with mastermind and the training. But that's what it's taken to get to this. So it comes with a lot of hard work doing it from overseas in particular. So the future deals, there's one deal which is a commercial and residential development, direct to vendor through a landlord letter. So that one's been a large Victorian house that's been let out to lots of SMEs in a small town centre. And the owner has also got full planning permission to develop 9 houses on a big bit of land next to it. So we're currently in discussions about taking that on and then doing a purchase lease option for the additional land. And that should generate, I think, 40% ROI. The second one is a freehold to leasehold block of 9 flats. And that one is a great opportunity in another suburb outside of Sheffield. So there's also an opportunity to build 2 more flats in the roof space, and that should generate about 25% ROI. And the final one there is another freehold to leasehold block of flats, grade 2 listed. And I'm looking at that as a grade 2 listed building because I understand what it takes to refurbish that sort of property. Maybe not so many people are trying to compete with that one because they see it and think, okay, there's a lot of problems. I don't want to touch the grade 2 listed building. But because I understand what it takes to get it through planning and get things done, I feel like it's a good opportunity. The top tips are to follow the process. Sounds very simple, but that's all you need to do. Anybody can join Mastermind. Anybody can do it and achieve great things. That leads you to finding great deals through landlord letters, leaflets, and the networking. The other one is delegate more. So for me, because I don't have as much time, so trying to work on the business rather than working in the business, doing everything myself, it's better to delegate as much as you can so that we can work on the strategy and overall plan of growing it. And the network is such a huge thing, so I would not have achieved this without having that and without being part of Mastermind. That's it. Thank you.
I do hope you got massive value from watching this YouTube video. I'd encourage you to click on the link below to come and do the online training with me. And I've got another video lined up for you, which I think is also going to be really useful that you should watch once you've registered for the online training with me. So invest with knowledge, invest with skill. I'll see you very soon.